I'm Phil Barantini. I'm the co-creator and co-director of the TV series of Boiling Point, which is out now.
I'm Mounia AkI, and I'm the director of episode 3 and 4 of Boiling Point, the TV series.
I'm Izuka Hoyle, and I play Camille in the TV series of Boiling Point.
My name is Lamont, and I play Dean in the TV series of Boiling Point.
My name's Hannah Traylen, and I play Holly in the TV series of Boiling Point.
My name is Odubola, and I play Johnny in the TV series of Boiling Point.
I'm Daniel Larkai, and I play Jake in the series.
I was waiting for the last. Oh yeah. You got to go. I'm James Cummings. I'm the co-creator and lead writer on the Boiling Point TV series.
Did you say James Cameron?
James
Yeah,
Cameron.
he said
No,
James
he's
Cameron.
obsessed. He's obsessed with
Titanic.
No.
Oh my god! Take the mask off. Because that's something I would do.
I'm actually Kate Winslet.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, everyone.
And I'm the sinking boat.
God, the sinking ship. Yes. So the TV series is now out in the world. And so, we can talk about it with spoilers. Okay. And for people who haven't seen the whole show, it's their fucking fault, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Bench it like everyone else. Come on.
Tell them again, Phil.
Yeah, man. Who's that?
I don't know. Who are you?
So basically, like quick backstory of how we got to doing a TV series. We obviously made the film, and like we talked on the previous episode, none of us had any idea how popular it was going to be. It became quite popular, and we were nominated for BAFTAs and stuff like that, which just blew my mind and everyone's minds as well. And so I was approached by the BBC, by one of the commissioners there, who's no longer there. She basically emailed me and said, can we set up a Zoom to have a chat about something? Didn't know what it was. And so I jumped on a Zoom, just me and her, and she said, have you thought about turning Boiling Point, the film, into a series? And actually, we had talked about how to maybe expand the world a little bit. We talked about a sequel, potentially, another one take, or whatever. There was just loads of things floating around, right? A series wasn't even, I don't even know if it was
we started talking about the series in, autumn 2021. So the film had come out, but it hadn't got to the BAFTAs yet.
Yeah.
And Bart and co sort of said, have a think about maybe what we could do for a TV series, and put together a pitch deck just in case anyone was interested.
Yeah.
And it kind of sat around for a little bit then, and it wasn't until I think May 2022 where we actually were asked by the BBC.
Yeah. So Mona, who is amazing. She's now not at the BBC, but she sort of, it was like, and I've since learned that this is not normal, right? So she was like, have you thought about a TV series? Have we gone, yeah, of course we have, yeah. We've been thinking about it for ages. She's like, okay, we'll commission a script, go away and write it. So we were like, okay, cool, that was easy. Didn't really have to pitch much for it. So we went away and wrote the script. We wrote it quite quick. You wrote it quite quick.
Yeah. We were working on a film called Accused, which is already out on Netflix, by the way.
Yeah.
And so after that had finished, probably when was that? March.
Yeah.
April. Then in May we wrote. We went away and wrote and came up with an idea for the series and what it might be.
Me, you and Steve.
And kind of fleshed out what we thought episodes might be. And then I went and did that first episode in like a week. I came up to Leeds when you were filming Malpractice.
Yeah,
and stayed in your place for a few days.
And it was again like, we had the first draft. I think Mona had left at that point then, just as we put the draft in. And then a new commissioner came in, Rebecca Ferguson, who I had known previous. She was the producer on Responder season 1. And so we were really close. So she now became a commissioner, and she was like, before she became a commissioner, she'd actually said to us, I want to work on the series. I want to help you produce it. And we were like, great, let's do it. Then she got the job as a commissioner, and she, I said, can I take Boiling Point on? So then she became our commissioner. And she championed the script straight away, took it to the top, and was like, they read it, didn't really give any notes,
No.
and then greenlit the show, which is kind of unheard of. But what they did say to us was, can you start in 4 months?
Yeah, and this was in August. We were greenlit, and they initially wanted us to start in December, I think, or November or December, and that was pushed ultimately to January. But the turnaround was ridiculous.
And so we, scrambled. We were like, shit, we've been greenlit now. This is mental.
You called him, was like, don't work from November to March, please. Please.
I called all the people, that we were planning on bringing back, and some of the people couldn't come back and whatnot. So it's just been a complete whirlwind, of like, not stress, it's excitement, but it's also like, it's kind of unheard of in the TV world, I think. For things to happen that quick. You're developing stuff for a couple of years or a year or whatever. We've got another project that we've been developing for 4 years with the BBC. So it's like mad. Anyway, so that being said, then we went, look, we want to shoot it in Manchester because great crews up there. Ultimately, because I lived there. But the thing is, I'd been away from the family for a year doing malpractice, and I was like, I just would love to be able to shoot it up here, and so we found the studio, and we decided we were going to build this new restaurant, and then I always knew I wouldn't direct the whole show because I just directed a whole series of a show, and it broke me. Like, it was an amazing experience, but such hard work. And we wanted to bring someone else on, and we all watched Mounia's film Costa Brava Lebanon, which was just blew us all away. It was incredible. And then I jumped on a Zoom with you, and I was like immediately there was that connection. I felt that.
Me too.
And it was like one of the things, because I remember you saying this. You were like, "What did you say to me?" You said something to me, and I was a bit thrown off because I was supposed to be sort of interviewing her, right? And she spun it and was like,
it on a dime.
"Tell me something that, what was it? I can't remember. You said something like, tell me something that scares you." And I was like, my palms are sweaty and all this, and I'm going,
This scares me.
something like that anyway. And I was like,
Yeah, it's so you.
it's so Mounia. And then, it was like Mounia came on board, and I wanted whoever was going to be the second block director, because I'd worked as a block director on The Responder, and it was, you come in, you do your thing, you prep, and you follow someone else's vision, and you can put your own spin on certain things, but you ultimately have to follow someone's vision. But when I met Mounia and knew that, her amazing filmmaking talent and what she would bring to the table, it was so important that you came on board really early on at the very beginning of the prep process, and we worked on a lot of things together. We cast most of it together.
Yeah.
All the new guys, like Stephen, you know what I mean? That's who he is.
And that's the voice.
And so it was.
For me, as a director, you rarely have the opportunity to work with another director because you're just the director of something. And with Phil, I felt right away like he wanted to share something with someone and collaborate with someone and build a world together. And I had already fallen in love with the characters from the show, from the film. And then when I read what I was sent, I fell in love with the stories that you were going to take those characters on. And actually, one of the stories that you were exploring, which was diving into the mental health of one of the characters, I was in the interview, like doing the interview with Phil, I was at a friend's house who was going through exactly the same thing as the character, so it felt very serendipitous.
Robin,
yeah.
We can talk
exactly.
about we can talk about the the spoilers, but it's
the
show is out, so it's not,
Actually, one thing people always wonder is if Stephen Graham's character dies at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So when you decided you wanted Stephen in the show, you're like, well, I guess he doesn't.
well, it's a funny story because like
you killed him in the short and in the movie, and then
No, but like in the feature, it was like people always ask me, is he dead or alive? I'm like, it's entirely up to you. It's your interpretation of it. For me, in the back of my head, he died.
That's so interesting because when I saw the short and then when I watched the film, even though were in the film.
Wait, I thought you had the French accent.
Oh, I fucking forgot.
Putain.
Putain. Yeah, he was alive to me.
Yeah.
At the end of the feature.
At the end of the
Positive mindset, mate.
That's what it is.
At the end of the
Because
short,
you know,
he
because
was
with-
dead for
you
sure.
don't- You know, not everyone
Yeah.
dies from an OD.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was. It was.
But,
I-
but the thing is as well is like, because obviously in my mind he's dead, and also Stephen was like, that cat, he's dead, so
Yeah.
he
I
won't
wanted
be coming
him
back
dead
for
as
this.
well.
Yeah.
Like,
You-
like,
I
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
him
We had a conversation. We're like, we want him dead. Yeah, it was kind of a prerequisite that he'd be alive.
But then the BBC are like, would
Yeah.
Stephen come back? Is he alive? I'm like, do you want
Maybe.
him to come? We'd like it if he came back. Oh, he's definitely alive.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, we've got this whole story about where he is now.
Just scoring
Yeah,
up
they're
his
almost like,
career.
it's not getting greenlit if he's not. If
I'm like,
alive.
Steve, would you please come back? He's like,
Sue Michaels immediately. How is your heart scar work? We need a really good scar for this.
I remember when my mom told me, so tell me what's the next project you're working on. I told her, so she went and watched the feature,
Oh,
and
yeah.
she called me, she's like, yeah, this is so stressful. I never want to go to a restaurant ever again. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, it's not an enjoyable watch, is it? People are like, I watched
Yeah.
it last night and I'm like, how did you feel?
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh,
Then
it
they were
is
showing it
a
on
panic
planes.
attack.
we showed it on planes.
They were showing it on planes. Was that Virgin?
All the planes.
Oh, I was like, what a film to watch when you're that high. You know, I'm a nervous flyer, so if I was watching that, Jesus Christ.
You're watching Peppa Pig on the.
Little Kiki's just there.
Yeah.
I watch Big Bang Theory on the plane.
No, that's not.
Well, that's a good one to watch on the
That's
plane.
comfort.
That's a
isn't
good
it?
one. But yeah, so it all happened very fast, and you know, having the you know, one of the other things that people always ask me and James and you know anyone who's in the film is like, or not ask me, but would go, oh, I wish I knew more about that character, or I wish I could see what was going to happen there. And in my mind, it's like it's a slice of life, so you don't always get to see what people's resolves are, or you know, it's not always tied up in a bow. And that was the idea for the feature. But then when the series came about, it was like brilliant. We can now explore, you know, a little bit more into these characters' lives, and not again, it's not tied up in a bow, but we get a sense of like you know who they are and where they are now 8 months later with each character. And you know, with Hannah's character, Holly, we love, like you had one scene in the, one little moment in the feature, but we all fell in love with you as a person and how amazing you are as an actor.
Yeah.
We were like, we can't not have her in the show. So we come up with this idea of like, she's left that life behind her. Jake has brought her in to help, you know, get some money. She's now working as a pot washer with Jake. Brilliant. Like, you know what I mean? So, and that relationship was already there. It's so, you know, and then we knew we wanted to bring some new characters into the mix as well. And so when we wrote the script, and you will remember this as well, because it's like, we wrote characters, but they were never like, the character descriptions were never like really solid. It was, we knew we wanted, you know, a person for that role. It was never like what gender or race or whatever. It was just like someone to play that sort of role, a chef. And there was a lot of back and forth in terms of like different characters and character names. And you know, Stephen, like, I hope you don't mind me saying, but and I honestly, you were such a champion because you came in and auditioned for I think 2 or 3 roles. Yeah. And you know,
Which ones?
It was well the characters were not
They were
Dean.
not really big.
Dean.
Just
There was a big discussion about getting rid of you. When I came in, I told Phil, I don't like this guy. Can we replace him?
So you got me.
That's
Sorry.
No, but it was like
It was fun though.
yeah, well, I mean, you know, we obviously worked together, like we said before in the other episode, like as actors. And I've seen your work, and I knew that we wanted you in the show because you're amazing, you know. And I think what you brought to that character is just fucking phenomenal. But it was a slight battle between the powers that be wanting names, more names in, more.
Yeah.
Which I totally understand and I totally get because that's how they bring in the audience.
Yeah.
But we knew we wanted you in the show, and it was important to sort of fight for that, really. And so and the other sort of character that we adapted as we were going along. Like we adapted your character in the storyline, and like halfway through the shoot, we decided to give you twin.
Right? I'm a dad now.
So and,
What do you mean halfway? I was shooting the final episode when I was told, by the way.
Oh yeah.
It's true.
That was the mad thing about this show. Is like it was constantly adapted and changing, and things were,
But literally, like we were saying before, like when you hear those things, it's like, oh, a challenge. Similar to when you was told you had to do the French accent. So I just wanted to do it. I was like, yeah, that, I don't mind.
And like the backstory of him being in the army and all that kind of stuff, it was like, just, and again, with the sort of script team and everyone that was involved in, and all the actors being so, like some actors could turn around and be like, I can't, that's not what I've been, that wasn't my motivation in episode 2. I don't know where that's going to go. But, it's like trusting the process and trusting us as directors to be able to bring that to life.
One of the first questions Phil asked me when we had our first chat is, how comfortable are you with improvisation? Because obviously, not like the film, it's not just a beat sheet. There's going to be scripts, but we want the actors to contribute to that. We want them to know their characters well enough that they can improvise around, so that we keep that feeling of creating on the go as well. And for me, obviously, I had done that a lot, and I was really excited to do that. And it was so fun because actually I would be behind the monitor and be surprised, and like, there's one moment when you made the joke like 2 soups.
And it went over your head.
What's funny is that obviously all the people who were not your age or Vinette's age didn't understand, and you're all really revolted. Like, what do you mean you don't know this joke? And then we watched it, and
I suddenly felt old in that moment of going, how do you not know Victoria Wood? Children, come on.
But the point is, like, we kept it in. But the most exciting thing for Phil and I was that we were behind the monitor and we were always surprised. So for us, it was so exciting.
It's the same with me. Like coming on this, I'm sure you guys obviously had experience with this in the future. But when I came on this, I was preparing the scripts, learning my lines. But then coming on this, it's like, oh. You know, this is just more so an energy thing. You're just bouncing off everybody's energy and just improvising on what works in the moment works. So, man, it's good.
But you've ruined us for life because you go on to other jobs, you're like, I'm just going to do this. And they're like, no, you have to do it for 6 months. Do that. You're like,
because acting is listening, right? Acting is reacting. And when you bring improv in a project, then actors don't have another choice than to.
But also, like the audition process for us was finding, and same with the feature, but with the TV series, obviously people had seen the film now, so understood like how we were working. And so when we were auditioning these actors, some actors can't improvise. You say to them, improvise around the scene, and they suddenly think they need to talk, and explain what they're doing and everything. But actually, if there's 2 people in the scene, I'm more interested in the person who sat behind, just listening and not doing anything.
Yeah.
And so it was trying to find those actors who could really become members of our family.
Yeah. And that's why it was so important. I remember, obviously, we had new cast members and we did it, but anybody coming to join us for that episode, like guests or sort of people passing through the scenes of the episode, I definitely was like, you need to include them instantly. So every day it was like, new person, hi. This is mental. Come in and be comfortable. And we all took that on to make sure everybody was part of the gang from the off, because we needed them comfortable to play with. If we were at all scared, we wouldn't have got past that fear barrier.
And I've worked on things where you come in as a day player and you're in one scene and it's horrible.
Hideous.
And you just don't feel welcome.
Yeah.
And hats off to you, all you guys, and everyone, all the crew as well. Yeah. Just made people feel welcome.
But it's very simple as well. Sorry to cut you off. It's very simple. You just say good morning. How are you? Welcome.
In the makeup chair.
That's all it is.
To be fair, you were really good at it. Like,
but it's only because I've been on jobs.
He was really good.
I'm sort of going, I'm scared to even look at somebody, let alone say good morning.
It's ego.
It's hideous. It's hideous. Just say good morning. Like, manners cost nothing. P.S.
Yeah.
And we all did it. We all did do it.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the production design, and we built the set when we were filming here. It's a real live working kitchen, so everything's on, everything's hot, knives are sharp. One of the things that the production designer was like, or someone came with health and safety was like, by the way, the actors can't use sharp knives, I'm not allowed to use sharp. I'm like, but most of the fucking scenes are them chopping stuff or doing stuff
We
like that.
could use metal pans though.
Oh yeah, we know that.
Here
We know that. If we do another season, it's going to be rubber bands.
Rubber bands, yeah.
Because the poor sound guys are going to
That was too good.
I'm like, no, I'm trying to wash up their metal. That's metal. You know.
To be fair, what happened to me on the first day of filming before I even got to the fucking
Oh,
set?
you got COVID?
No.
Oh no.
Yeah.
A few people did on the first week. We'll talk
Also
about that.
got COVID. Sliced my fucking thumb open.
Oh,
so
yeah, of
we
course
had
you
to
did.
do
That bloody blue part.
The blue plaster.
Oh, the continuity of the blue
continuity
plastic.
of the plaster.
I'll never forget that. And I was
Sorry,
sat,
can we just do that again? Izuka's not got her plaster on.
and I was sat. Who was I in the car? Was I in the car with any of you guys going to set for the first day to film? And I was like, had blood all over me.
Oh,
so
man.
I can't remember who.
Oh,
it
you
was.
cut yourself at home.
I was literally running to get into the car and I was cleaning because I'd gone to France and bought those fucking knives.
Oh, yeah.
I was cleaning it this way and I just sliced my thumb open. So then I got there and I was like, so we're going to need a plaster for reals.
She's a method actor, see.
There you go.
But no, I mean, like the Adam Tomlinson who designed the set, which is
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
absolutely.
You're on it all day, right? And then you come outside the studio and you're like, fucking hell, it's still light outside.
Yeah.
There's a world out there, I forgot. You know what I mean?
Actually,
for
the
real.
set was so realistic that some people accidentally used the bathroom.
Oh
thinking-
my god!
Did they actually?
People
I
used-
wanted to go
But
to
it was a
few times.
fake. There was no flood.
I kept on going, I
like
can't use that.
on when we were sort of building the set and getting it ready, when it was like, when it was basically ready,
Yeah.
people would come on set who were just there for the couple of days or whatever, helping out, maybe doing like the mural on the wall, painting that. They'd go in the office, in the staff room, just have a piss. And then Adam would be like, someone's
This
had
was just
another piss.
that though.
Oh my
Just
god.
imagine, imagine.
At least it was just that.
It was Izuka, she did it.
She was a method actor, that's what it is.
I just got really, really good and make sure everything was working. The other times we would go, I'd see in scenes, we'd go to like to wash our hands or to wash something, no water would come out. So
Oh, yeah.
something would be like, set aside, but there's no water coming out.
We were like with the shower thing.
Yo, that
Yeah.
was also it. But you had to like pretend it
It
was
was
like.
just so realistic. It was
Do you
brilliant.
know the special effects guys as well? They were
Stunning.
Unreal.
They were so
They were so dedicated.
My
Like to
favourite
the
was when they
smoke,
were running.
Every detail.
Yeah.
just run in and put
Tiny
like
little
The one with the
smoke
in it.
Yeah, the smoke guy. He's
like
OG.
nothing worked in there apart from 2 burners, I think.
Yeah.
Burners, but that was it. Everything else was just.
Yeah.
And actually,
Sense.
again, I guess props to Adam and his team for making it look so real. I remember we wrapped the first week or whatever. We came back on the Monday. I walked onto the set because I'd always go there first thing in the morning with Matt and we'd block out the scene and talk about the scene. And the fucking kitchen stunk. And someone had left. None of the fridges worked. Someone had left some mackerel fillets in the fridge
I
over the
remember
weekend.
that. That was where
in
you
a
were
pot.
stationed on it.
Is that?
That was his station. It wasn't me.
That was
It's
that
station, it's
literally
station.
hard day.
I've never smelt anything
It was
like
funky. It was really funky to like halfway
Funky.
through.
Honestly, those because in the cold section as well. Like, what was that piece of fish? The pink one that was basically like, we'll shoot with this until
salmon.
it
Was that
browns.
salmon?
Tuna.
Beetroot.
No, it's the salmon. The
Salmon, yeah. That
Yeah,
was
yeah,
the
yeah.
beetroot
Beetroot
salmon.
salmon.
Probably looked like
Remember
tuna
that was in
after.
that fridge, and there was a time we
I think we had one piece of like steak on the bone that we used in it.
Oh yeah, that steak on the bone.
We were just
That was huge as well, wasn't it?
Buttons though in the back.
Yeah, they were amazing.
Yeah.
T1.
T-bone.
Tomahawk
T.
or
That's
whatever.
the T. Yeah.
The
Tomahawk.
food was
I mean, the team, obviously, Ellis, what's his last
Alice
name?
Barry.
Alice Barry, for me, was he was a chef consultant on the project.
He was more than that, though. I think.
Oh my God, he
was.
was more than that because he was not only like getting us to really understand the world of that industry, but he was also like, I would come to him and be like, okay, I have a character that needs to really isolate themselves and fall apart in the walk-in fridge. Like he will always like kind of like relate an emotion to where it could be in the architectural space of the restaurant and I used to go to there were 2 catering trucks, obviously. The one that was preparing the food for the show and the one for the crew. And I would always go to their catering truck and eat a little bit. Yeah, Sammy, eat some of their food before it makes it to set. It was so good.
So Sammy's truck was basically preparing all the food to be on set.
And I would eat it before.
Yeah, that was the trick though. That's where you had to go.
That's
You
where you
wanted to
had to
eat
go.
it, you had to go to that
You had to
truck
walk past
before
that to get to lunch.
Yeah.
Round the corner
Yeah.
to the main catering.
Yeah.
And Sammy was like, I just made a load of flatbreads. You want some?
Flatbreads.
Why have you made all that?
There's one where it was just like,
Amazing.
But no, Ellis he was like, even just from a food perspective as an act, because you don't have enough time to be able to, because a lot of the time we'd be like coming up with some of the dishes, last minute you'd be, figuring out how you would even do this, and he would know every person in the kitchen, each chef's different job and also how you would do it. He'd be like, no, you're tweaking that wrong, especially if you're from there. Half the time I'd be like, can we go even further? Do you know what she'd be doing if she had a French thing to it? He'd be like, yep, sure, got you. Like it was just paramount to have him.
you knew where everyone went. It's like you knew where the KPs should be at that point.
Yeah.
Like if this chef was over there, then KP would be walking over here. It's like
Well, we would always include him on, he's the chef consultant on the job, but and I suppose his job would be to do the focus on the food, but every morning, certainly I did this, and I know that you did as well, it would be me, Matt, and Ellis, and we'd talk through the scene, and he would correct me, even though I've worked in kitchens, he would be like, yeah, but it'd be better if you did it this way, maybe go around that way, and take that out of the oven there, and you're like,
He would be part of the blocking. When Finn and I would come and block the scene with all of the cast, Ellis was here and he was blocking the scenes in the kitchen with the logic of a kitchen.
Or singing. He was always singing.
He was always singing. Even just simply for pronouncing, I'd never heard of a hogget until Boiling Point. And we'd have to sort of be like, here's your blah blah blah. But why can't it just be burger and chips, please?
There's one. I think it's in episode 3 when he has to explain the dish and it's fried, it's thingy, it's a morning sauce.
Amelia was like, I thought she was joking. She's like, so we're just gonna have you do that. So I'm like, yeah, okay.
What? Nailed it though. It's still there. It's still there.
But the hogget thing, I had a whole episode of them hogget, 2 hoggets here. And then I was like, maybe everyone knows what that is except me. So I was like, guys, what is a hogget? And everyone was like, I don't know.
Haunting my dreams, the hogget was.
It's like the teenage sheep.
Yeah.
Something.
It's a teenage sheep that's a.
Because the lamb is the baby,
obviously
the baby.
The lamb and the...
We had a lot of hogget.
tons of hogget.
Is that the plural?
Really?
The mutton is the older.
Hogget.
What's the plural for who? Mutton?
No, but what was fun about the shoot is we were always creating new things. Like in my episode, there was a wedding with a mixed couple, an Indian, British couple, and I told Phil like, you're not Indian, I'm Lebanese. Can I bring a bit of home into this show? And he was like, yeah, of course, let's get someone Lebanese.
And same with James in terms of I'm just going to throw it out there. It was a fucking nightmare for you for scripts. Because
when I started, I'd be like, oh God, what should this be? Cheese shards and courgette.
Yeah.
Put it in, James. And then later I was like, oh, fuck that.
I remember in the
XYZ for
XYZ
ABC.
Here you've got your ABC.
Yeah. I was like, that's Ellis will sort it out.
Yeah.
Move on.
But in terms of for adapting the scripts as we go along, that was. I mean, we always knew that was going to be the case. But what you said about the Lebanese mixed couple, and it's like, of course, and obviously you got your sister in.
Yeah, my sister who's never acted in her life. She has nothing to do with that world. She acted in it.
She was fabulous as well.
She did great.
We really loved her.
She did great. Yeah.
Just things like that make sense because it makes it more real and. Like what you said, you know what I mean? It's like you know that world, so you're going to be able to, and sort of bring in the restaurant to life when we decorated the restaurant to have a bit of a Lebanese twist, and the food.
Yeah.
It was all helped along by
flatbreads.
the flatbreads.
Yeah. Delicious.
What were your favorite moments from the shoot?
Let's go around.
Yeah,
go on, Sue.
Oh man, I was just very unprepared for that question, Mounia.
I mean, also what I was going to say at the top before we come in, it's the same with the film. I forget what we did because it was constantly evolving, nothing was set in stone. So when you did something and you moved on, the next day your brain had to go into that. So there's a lot of the series that I can't really remember doing.
It was important for us, I think, to be able to go. for you guys to trust us and to go, because there's not once you ever came and said, can we just watch that back and watch the monitor? Because I wouldn't have allowed it really, unless it was a technical thing, but it was important for you guys to trust us, because what we were watching on the monitor, every take was slightly different, and it was a nightmare for the editors.
Was it?
Yeah.
Tommy
And Alex, like, they just, you know.
Yeah, Carly got a second script supervisor just because it was so massive.
Yeah.
She was like, I can't.
She said, and it was a challenge for everyone. You know, the film was a challenge in a way because it was one take, but the series was also a challenge because, again, like one of our first early meetings with the BBC was, I said, look, if we're going to make this, I certainly don't want to make the TV version of it, where it's very different to the film. We want to keep the integrity of the film, and that's loose improvisation around the script. There will be a script that you can read, but it might change on the day. It probably will change on the day, and it did a lot of the time.
Yeah, and for me that was great because, you know, like when it comes to working in TV, whether it's in the US or the system is so different, and it feels more corporate than working in cinema, which is, you know, where I come from. And for my first conversation with Phil, I felt, oh, this is like a film but TV, you know, and that's exactly what it was when I arrived there. I was literally the only non-British person on this whole set. I landed in this new world with all of you who were already a family. And right away I felt like, oh, it feels like making an independent film, but with the budget of a TV show, which is probably a problem for the BBC.
Yeah.
But you could cut that out. But basically, but for me, it felt like, okay, it feels like working with a family and a dysfunctional, beautiful family. you know, I think that was.
It was like playing shops, though. I just kept saying it's like playing shops. When you just go into the storeroom and there's just like, you know, it was just like.
You were in the element, getting pans, singing into the pan, and you was doing. I can't remember. I just made that one up, but you might have done that. Probably. You're doing all sorts, is it?
I remember the first speech that Stephen Graham made on the first day of shoot, which was, you know. A reminder that we want to create something that comes from the heart, stay true to ourselves, not cater to, you know, just cater to, you know, the heart.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Rebecca Ferguson, who's our commissioner, and Lindsay Salt and all the people at the BBC, they trusted us in the end. You know what I mean? I think they saw what we were creating and they trusted us, and they did sort of leave us alone. There was never once where you're like, oh, you need to reshoot that, or this is not looking great, or, you know, I think they trusted us because what was on the page and what they were getting in the rushes every day was quite different.
And did they ever, I suppose they would have kicked back, but that must have been a real gear shift for them in their roles as well, to be like, this is what's written, but this is what we're getting in. How did they respond to that?
Well, I think it was because we had something to show, the film and the short. This is what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to feel like. These are the characters. This is the way, you know, the actors are going to act. I think they probably, if we were going in blind and it was like, oh, you're not. This is how we want to do it. Look, we've given you. This is a presentation that we've made of how we want to shoot it, and it's going to look like this film or like that TV series. Then we may have got a bit of pushback, but I think.
Also, I suppose what they got was deemed as good as well. You know, it's not as if you're giving them slots.
It's almost like the TV series is like the second season of something. You know what I mean? Without, it's not really, but it kind of is because it follows on the story as well.
As well, I think all of us, certainly us who were in the film and were sort of chosen to come and be part of the series, every single person who made up the film was and is excellent. So sort of the sort of fortune of that was not lost on any of us. And so we brought that into the space of going, we have to nail it for everybody else.
100%.
You know, so we really had that pride element. Which, because it was a tough shoot, you know, there was long days where mostly you're in the background one week and the other. In any other world or any other hands, that could have been hellish. But we really bound together as a unit and just tried to sort of stay sane, even in the mental weeks when you're doing nothing.
We lost our minds in that. We lost our minds in that green room.
There was the one thing when we were designing that restaurant, you know, because we shot here and it was open kitchen. And like I said in the previous episode, I wanted everyone to be on all the time and acting in the background. Well, when we were like, let's put these big windows in the kitchen. So you know, the
Yeah,
audience
thanks
can
for
see
that.
it.
Cheers,
No,
Phil.
thank you, because
yeah.
Point North was really, thankfully, right in front of
Right in front of you.
Yeah, you were there. I don't think I'll be in this yet.
Every day, Mounia was like, "You're not even in my episode."
That's not my Luckily, I speak French, so I was constantly correcting her accent.
No, it was very
I
good.
told her there's like a couple of words in the feature was like, she's not French. It's not happening now.
She caught. She caught
on,
out.
she caught on.
Yeah.
In terms of like, because you guys didn't audition for the show, because you were already part of it, but what was the sort of, and I know we put you through your paces and stuff like that, and thank you for you know, not moaning. You probably did behind our backs, but
Fucking guy.
you were just so like, oh man, it's just so humble and, you know, because it might not have worked out, and you know, I wanted to just.
But like I said, man, everything's a learning experience, man. That audition was the most. I don't even know the word for it. It was the most different audition I've done in terms of just exploring different emotions, different character beats, and different things that you just throwing at me, and it was just good to exercise that. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of had an idea coming to set of what the vibe would be.
Yeah.
I still like an idiot. Started memorizing the script. when I got to set and was acting, it was literally just thrown out the window. It was cool. Let's just bounce, like I said before. So it was good, man. I've never been on a set like that where it feels like theatre but in film. You know what I mean? It was so disciplined, but at the same time so loose.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it was just different. And
Did you audition with someone? Like, who did you
Well,
bounce
Robbie-
off?
Robbie
It was
O'Neill.
Robbie O'Neill, yeah.
and he was
he was
throwing
amazing.
curveballs as well.
Curveball,
Curveball, but I loved it though. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
I had said to Robbie before, you know, anyone came in the room, I was like,
Is he Scouse?
yeah, Robbie is
Ah,
Scouse.
cool.
It was like, and the thing is, I would love to have him. And we did talk about having him in the film.
Well,
he potentially was going to be one of the wedding couples.
When I was doing auditions, he was basically feeding lines to the people I was auditioning, and I called Phil out like, I want this guy.
He's
like-
a good improviser.
He's really good.
brilliant.
He's so good.
And we wanted him in the show, but his storyline in the film, it would have felt, I don't know whether it would have worked.
Maybe a bit
It was
contrived.
really
to
tough
have
because there were some excellent actors in those roles, but
Yeah.
honestly, you just couldn't.
No,
Feasibly
exactly,
bring
yeah.
into a new restaurant, it would be too on the nose.
Yeah.
Alice came back though.
Alice came back.
Shout out to
And there are a number of people who aren't in the series that we, at least in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, how are we going to bring them back?
Of
Because
course.
there was only so much room in the series with 4 episodes and so much space in the kitchen. So there are definitely people from the feature that we're on our mind to bring back, and sort of, because also we talked in the last episode about how you have that rotating revolving door thing in the kitchen, and we absolutely want to bring back people who were in that. You know, so
That
that
is
would be
exciting.
really
If we
Yeah.
get a season
if we get a
2, I
second
mean,
series, sorry, I should say so.
Yeah.
If we got more,
it would be
Seamless
amazing.
sacrifice.
yeah.
I think what's nice as well with the show is that you really went deep into the themes that you touched upon in the feature,
Yeah.
to the point where the feature almost feels like a pilot for a show or pitch for a show.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That was
and-
always the plan. No, I'm joking.
I've learned a lot from this podcast.
And the show is a pitch for the immersive play.
Yeah, no.
You guys have done everything now. Short, feature, TV series.
Cartoon.
She's been on this radio.
Friends
Yeah.
transitioned for the show, and I just remember like a couple of people from different parts of my life, and obviously were reaching out to me going, oh my god, what do they need, what do they want? And it was just their excitement, and once they'd done it, the sort of the way in which that you spoke to, the way in which it was done was just electric, and they were so excited to be thrown into that world. But yeah, I kind of thought, God, the excitement of that, the people were genuinely excited by it.
Yeah,
Which felt
it's
really
important because
special.
obviously I'm an actor. I was an actor, and so was Mounia. You know what I mean? So we understand actors, and I think bringing people in, if people got really close to getting a role, I would always try to let them know it hasn't gone their way, but not because of any, reasons of theirs. And another thing we wanted to do for the series was to audition people, non-actors, or people who are sort of, not really, we haven't got agents or whatever. So, and I wanted we got people in who were working in the hospitality industry, so we put out an open casting and that's how we found Missy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they basically everyone taped, right? And one of the tapes, you probably did it as well. One of the things I wanted people to do was to just tell us a story about an experience they've had in hospitality, whether it's as a customer or as a.
That was the same as the film.
And the film, we did it on the film, and it worked because what you do there is you go, and I made it quite clear. I didn't want people to rehearse the story. And you see actors who come in and they've rehearsed this story and they get on camera and it's like, my first time in a restaurant. And it's there, it's all performed, you know what I mean? And one of the other things,
you said like, do it while you're making a cup of tea.
Do it while you're making a cup of tea. Or like some
Because it distracts.
That'd be so
it's doing something. Doing something.
Yeah, deflecting it.
Whilst you're.
I had to do that for the film.
You did, yeah. Everyone did that.
Yeah.
It was a good one, yeah?
But what we did was we did the same thing with these non-actors, and Missy was just like so confident. Well, they were talking about working in McDonald's and like basically, I think robbing all the food and giving it to their mates.
And also for one so young, they've got such gravitas as a person.
And
they really are rooted and
They
so young.
Were they 18 when we shot that?
18, and the thing is, when
Wait, what?
They were 18.
Missy was 18
Missy
when we
was
shot.
Kit was
Missy?
Missy, 18, baby.
No.
So
What
basically,
did you say?
so what we did was with that we
I'm
they
18.
were auditioning for like those non-actors were auditioning for just a role, right? And we thought we'd put them in. I can't remember the name of the character we chose anyway. So Missy came in.
Is it Jamie or something?
Yeah.
No. Jamie is Steve McMillan's character.
No, there was another character that we wrote.
Yeah, what, it was
Steve.
Jamie.
Oh, Stevie. It was Stevie. Yeah.
So we got.
Stevie.
That was one of the original.
We ended up combining multiple
again?
characters together.
Anyway.
Anyway, we digress. Yeah. So we got them then to tape to do a proper audition, and then we called them in, and we were just so blown away by them. It was like we need to make this character non-binary and just be them.
Yeah.
So when we brought them in and said, look, we want to make the character non-binary, are you okay with that? And they just burst out crying.
Blown away.
And then I was crying my eyes out. And it's just like, I want to learn from you. So the character we'll develop the character together.
Yeah.
So that it's educating all of us.
And it really did. I had to say early on, like, I've been gay in the margins, living my whole life like that, my adult
You're
life
gay?
in the margins. Mounia, come on.
What a
1,000 years ago. But even
a disappointment.
Even as a marginalised person, I still wasn't au fait with that language. So I said to Missy very early on, I will make mistakes, and we all did, and I think a lot of us were afraid to even mention them in conversation. But I just was like, we need your patience, and they gave us it so graciously. And through that, you go, it just pertains to this person. Missy is they them, and it really is simple. It's very very simple.
Yeah.
But I hadn't even been exposed to that experience.
But above all of that, they are phenomenal actor.
Yeah, really good.
Amazing.
Yeah, right.
The thing, often you work on projects and people are like, oh, we want diversity, we want this and that, and it comes from a very fake PC place. Like, Sylvia, how does it feel to be a female director from the Middle East? I'm like, fuck you, I'm a director. And I felt like Boiling Point was just like, you looked at the wall with all of the cast, or you looked at the crew, and it was as diverse as the world, but from a place that came. It was natural. It wasn't a fake trying to make it diverse. It was just, that's our world, and we want to talk about our world.
And chucking away stereotypes, like I worked really closely with Jess, who is incredible, head of costume, on like making sure that Holly wasn't just your stereotypical chav, you know.
Yeah.
And that's how we brought the indie vibe into it, because Boiling Point as a piece, it's like about real people.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And it's that's not 2D. So just because she sounds like that doesn't mean that she's going to be,
Yeah, and also
trackies
like,
and
with
trains.
Dean, we had Dean
Even though she was
totally
in the film, that's what I was
three-piece suits.
thinking.
Yeah.
It's important to do all those things. He was in the three-piece suits, which I thought he was always going to be like in uniform with everyone else, but she's like, absolutely not. This is his moment. He's now the maitre d'.
Yeah.
He has to sort of.
She's bloody incredible.
Yeah.
Jess.
Jess,
So
that was
special.
Jess's first job as a designer, a costume designer.
She was incredible.
Amazing.
And she's good mates with Stephen, and like, you know, she's worked her way up the ranks in the costume department, and she's incredible. And she, believe it or not, she didn't believe in herself.
Shout out to
She
Jess,
was
man.
so scared to jump in. But I think, you know, the environment that we've all created together, she felt comfortable in doing that. And now she's off doing
natural.
doing another. She's doing a show called The Gathering, which is
Wicked.
Nice.
which she's the designer on that, and she's, you know, going to do my next film, and she's just amazing.
Yeah, she's
Not only like amazing at what she does, but she's
Beautiful soul.
beautiful soul. Yeah.
It's
All of
also-
the heads of department, like, you know, like for me to jump in a world that I haven't designed from scratch, it was new, you know, so I was scared when I arrived, and then I came and I was like, wow, I love everything. I love all the heads of departments. I trust them. I trust your taste. And working with Jess, the costume designer, I mean, she really delves into characters, you know, and involves the actors in the conversation.
And the same goes for every head of department and their teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone's so different as well.
You know,
Wildly different.
wildly different.
And so good at what they do. Sue was a scream.
Oh, Sue's
Yeah, she was great.
Amazing.
Sue Michael's just.
Sarah Lucas on set.
Oh,
Legend.
big up Sarah.
We were just lucky. It's like, but again, because every department was tested, you know, we as actors were tested, the metal was tested. Every department was in, so everybody was in the same position. Nobody was coasting. Nobody was sort of like, oh, this is a breeze. So that collective energy of probably fear really
Same
bound
as
us
the
all
film.
together.
It's same as the film. It's got the same sort of.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we wanted to bring.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted it to be sort of always sort of like there's always the energy's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You never know what's quite going to happen.
Yeah.
And in terms of like, again, another thing that changed story-wise was, you know, you two. One of the original ideas was to have Jake's goes on this drive up north on his own because he doesn't want Holly to go, and he decides to do it himself. And then we were like, why don't we just bring? First of all, Daniel doesn't fucking drive. That was it. Yeah.
Depends if you're talking about GTA or not, I don't know.
We were like, but that wasn't the reason why we changed it. You know, it was just, I think because of their connection, it would have been a really amazing dynamic to see them in that.
And it did make it, it felt like it, like I felt like it definitely, like the bouncing, naturally, obviously love Hannah, but like our characters had history already, and it's like we're bouncing off this history, and it was like, it's like we could really bounce off each other.
It
It's
was
like,
like going on a school trip.
yeah,
wasn't it? We went to
man.
the garage. It was great.
Well, the garage was a vibe, man. Also, the garage, obviously, that situation with the police car, because we weren't sure if we were going to do 2 or 1, right?
2
The
cars.
police cars.
Yeah.
The police cars.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's your episode, Smith.
I thought it meant 2 or 1 takes. I was like, ah, that's
2 or 1 takes, what? The police cars. Yeah. It was
They
just,
just went behind and they weren't even.
it was also nice to, like,
There's a moment when real police cars go past.
Yeah.
at
That
the
was
exact right moment.
crazy.
And we've used it in the show.
that was
right?
perfect. It was like,
of course.
yeah, like when it came to like feeling it, was like, oh my gosh, they're actually what?
That scene, like, I was behind him, you know, like that was the scene where I was behind him on it. I was very anxious, you know. I forgot to say cut because I forgot I was directing. You know, it felt
We're
so
having a
real.
full-blown row in the car.
Yeah. Even those police officers that I'm guessing, were they used to be serving?
Yeah, basically the
Yo.
cast we had was ex-police officers. So the woman, you know, I was scared of her.
Yeah, the stare, man.
I was
It
like, yeah,
whoa.
you do this if you want to. I'll do that.
Yeah, you do this if you
We had to
want.
cut out their monologue. Prepared.
But again, the set, like, that was a derelict garage, and they made the whole, like, literally.
That was complete.
Down
KTI.
to, it was like £7 for bread though. We didn't agree with that.
No, that was crazy. Well,
Yeah, like the price.
cozy living. You know what I mean?
Just for your average Hovis loaf.
Yeah. It wasn't even wholemeal,
There
nothing.
are other
It was
brands
just-
available.
But everything
Just
down
on a
to like
sourdough right back
lollies.
gas.
There was
Yeah,
everything
everything.
in there.
How did you guys find the dynamic, like the change of from doing a movie to doing a series? Like, did you prepare differently? Did you do anything different, or did it just feel the same?
The same energy, so because we started with a one take in episode 1.
Yeah.
So the first week, I can't remember if it was a week or day or an hour, but the first moment together was prepping and filming the opening sequence.
Yeah.
And
which we never used.
We didn't use, but we did at the end.
Did it, yeah.
Thanks for that. On our knees, and we're like, great, let's do this.
And for another 10 minutes longer.
But it was a compliment to add on, but I had that sort of like dry mouth, like, oh God. And then did I not say one of them, like, this is Dean, like, you're Dean. I just went into total panic mode of going, not again. And Phil was like, when you just get to the door and we cut, get to the door and it's a cut. And I was like, okay, I can do this. But it felt like we were doing it again. I was like, oh, no.
Because we wanted, you know, we wanted to tie in the movie to the show. So the way we thought of doing that was to do like the first 11 minutes, do a one take.
Yeah.
The audience might think, oh my God, they're doing the whole series as a one take. And people have asked me like, is the show one take before it, you know, it came out? And like, there was talk at one point, wasn't there? But it would be impossible to see people outside of work.
Yeah.
Because you can't travel from work to home.
And also imagine the amount of like massages Matt would have had to have.
I know.
Like, remember the physio, but that guy on the film, like the massaging between the...
But also, like, just doing a one take just for the sake of it is just, in the future it makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's keeping that, you know, I think we've found that balance perfectly in terms of like, one of the rules that we set when we're in the kitchen it's handheld, and when we're in the restaurant it's a bit smoother and a bit more, you know.
But that energy, that sort of scary, tumbly tummy feeling that we had here in this space, that was in Manchester with us, and that's when I was like, we're going to be fine.
3 months.
That same feeling,
Yeah.
the magic was there, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But there was still definitely like nerves.
Oh God.
Like definitely. I remember when they did the first take and you finished it and you're like, oh my God. But then there's like, everyone was feeling the same vibe. It was like, we were just, oh my goodness, is this...
And also when you'd certainly in your block, Mounia, when we were like Friday, 6:50, we wrap at 7. Everybody's there in that wedding, and it was just, we were really getting towards the wire, and it was like action, and that space came alive. It was Friday night in a restaurant. It just and you were overwhelmed by the energy that happened. So we really recreate the reality.
Let's talk about the nightclub.
Yeah, I was just. The thing is, like, I got lucky to have scenes where we finally see the cast and the crew like dancing in a nightclub, and of course we chose the one where Joy Division used to record, just because we're in Manchester, you know. And so it was so strange to be shooting in a nightclub during the whole day, and then as we're about to leave, all the people who are actually coming clubbing arrive, and we're just the whole day smelling their pee and their beer.
And the lights in that place, we were like that.
But it was so amazing for us to see the characters let loose for the first time outside of the workspace. That was so, like, I was just behind the monitor with feel like we're like dancing, you know. And the song I picked, which I adored, he made me remove it in the post.
What is it?
Which one?
Upside down.
Yeah, but he's not got that.
No.
What is it? I can't remember.
Tell me.
Bad Girls.
Bad Girls for who?
Oh yeah.
What? Who
It's
did
fine.
that?
It still works.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's still
It's
like
one of those
funky.
moments where Phil broke my heart.
I don't know.
Well, the thing about the music in the show is like, none of us, when we went in,
Soundtrack.
when we went into the show, I didn't have an idea of what the music would be, but I definitely wanted something a bit juxtaposed and like something that was a bit different to normal TV. I knew we wanted to use the composers to do some score, but then also to use as many commercial tracks as possible. And Mark Kirby, who was our music supervisor, I just said to him, send me a load of like classic nuggets that we've not really heard, but are just like, and he sent a load of this like old school soul R&B stuff, and it was just like jazz, and I was like,
He's amazing.
I wasn't expecting that, but it really went. And Tommy and Alex, they both sort of like would pick these tracks and put them in those moments. And it was like amazing. And I think, in defence of myself, I think that one track was one that just didn't feel. It felt a bit on the nose to me, and like we wanted something a bit different.
No, for sure. But there was one moment where we were trying to figure out the song for the nightclub. So Mark Kirby sent us a playlist, and I was shooting, and Phil was editing upstairs, and I said that I wanted Hot Stuff, and then Phil ran down from the editor like, Mounia, no, please.
Because I was like,
okay, Phil, don't worry.
She's like, presses play.
Like sat giggling behind her phone, like half joking.
She presses
like,
play, and suddenly all the electricity goes off. Me with the plug. But basically, like again, in my defense, it was like they were shooting.
I'm glad you stopped me because I don't even.
What was it called? The it was a film. What was the film? And now they've done a TV series.
Boiling Point.
No.
Is it the Full Monty?
Full Monty. And that track is just the Full Monty to me.
Yeah.
So I was like, please. And they were also filming at the time in Manchester. I was like,
Yeah.
no, we can't use that word.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, the sound, I will say, from the bits I've seen of it in ADR, the soundtrack is hard.
Yeah.
Like, it is so good.
Yeah.
It is so good.
Ridiculous.
I couldn't even contain myself in that booth.
I was so glad that we could get all those tracks and
Yeah.
The bit when Dan's wonking the jazz track.
Yo, yeah, man.
I've seen that. Yeah.
You see,
What's
you need
that?
to, it's on thingy, so you can just watch it.
BBC,
so after
right?
this, on
Yeah,
BBC.
I watch it
So
after.
BBC.
It's very good.
It's really like, now that I think about it, there are so many, like, James, maybe you can talk about, like, because when we first had conversations, you and I asked you, what do you think are the themes of the show? And you spoke a lot about, British culture and the facade and and how you wanted to talk about all those repressed things that you can show through the kitchen versus the handheld kitchen versus the polished restaurant. Like, can you talk about the themes that interested you that
I feel like, well, the thing that really attracted me to doing this is the intersection of so many different cultures and identities and backgrounds, and you have people who like saved up for months to come to the restaurant, and there are people who do it every day, and so that kind of difference and the juxtaposition between the people that are coming to the restaurant, even amongst themselves, and also the staff, I think gave a really great like jumping board to explore those topics. Topics are like really current right now, like the cost of living with your character in episode 3, with invisible disabilities, which are very personal to myself. It sounded like I was about to cry there. I wasn't. I just had a voice for cry. The invisible disabilities, like, which is personal to me, in episode 4, and then carrying on the mental health thing, which was really spearheaded in the feature film in episode 2, and then episode 1 just really being an introduction to everyone in the world and everything. Those different like topics really anchored, I think, the series in something that like felt worth doing. So even though I've seen people say, well, they should just leave it alone, why are they doing more? The ability for us to be able to talk about those things and explore those things, hopefully very authentically, I think it's incredibly valuable. Weirdly, when I started this project, I didn't have any gastric issues myself with episode 4, but since then I've been recently diagnosed with basically what Robin has, and I was going through some certain things like that, but like it was actually based on a different invisible disability that I have, which is arthritis. So to be able to explore that and like put that on the screen in a way which I don't think people have necessarily done massively. I had this idea which was like, so often when people shit themselves and movies, it's like played for laughs, and it is, and it can be really funny, and you know all that. But I thought to start an episode off like episode 4 with that, and to say, actually, look, this is the start of somebody's day, and then follow that through, and how does that impact them? I thought that was for me that episode was like, oh, we have to do the series because of that.
For sure. And I remember when I had my first meeting with Phil, I had like a pitch document with all the episodes, and the first thing I told him is, I want to do the Robin episode, please. And I also said JV, he's like, no. No, I mean, I liked all episodes, but the Robin one I felt...
Well, I'm glad you wanted to do ours then.
Oh, you didn't want to do ours?
Yeah.
You were not in it yet.
Oh, right.
Yeah. No, but for me, like the idea to be, because we all, struggle with invisible things, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a disability or it's just like the world of the mind is something that, no matter how big your smile is, everyone's struggling with something. And the ability to be able to talk about this with the story of this young woman, for me was a great challenge. And it was, of course, there were challenges like how do you film a woman shitting herself in the street? But then there was a challenge of like, how can this be universal to people? So whether you're struggling with anxiety or depression, or you can relate to her, it's not just about having Crohn's. And so there was so many conversations with Phil about, his relationship to his mental health, or you with your, and everyone, and the character Anya playing Robin. It became a real human conversation about all the secrets we all keep. And that for me it's beyond shooting a TV show, it's actually being a healing process for me as well. Because I'm very shy about speaking about my emotions, usually,
I mean, me, you and Anya sat
in a jacuzzi.
In a jacuzzi, just like,
talking about,
Oh, really?
all of it.
But you see, I was listening, you were talking, and while listening to you guys, I was like, fuck, I should be more open about.
You were though.
Oh, really good.
Yeah, you definitely were.
It's difficult though.
I know what everyone with tattoos mean now.
But that's why it's nice though, because it's like, I think like, realistically speaking, let's be honest, like when it comes to like gastric or bowel issues, it's so common in general, but it's also kind of embarrassing for people that when you're experiencing it. But it's also like, why should you be embarrassed if there's so many people that have it, right? Like we need to have a space where people are capable of being able to say, you know what, I'm kind of struggling here with this. And people will actually support rather than it being approached in a serious manner rather than like as a joke.
Because it's sort of heartbreaking that if it is a struggle, no one wouldn't take it seriously, but people still can't say. That's the heartbreaking thing, is that hiding it. You hate to think of anybody in your circle hiding something from you.
You probably want to
I
support
think
more, right?
that's it. Everybody, and that is like one of the themes. It's like everybody is going through something in their life.
And that was like, it was like a mirror for me, because even though we were filming that stuff, a lot of the real life situations were what we were filming, because some like it's work at the end of the day. You come to work, you put on a mask. And that's legit what we're trying to explore in Boiling Point TV series. So it was just like interesting to see that side of it.
I think the idea was always to like, each character has something relatable that people can relate to, or at least speak up about or talk about. You know what I mean? So.
And the way you explore it is done so subtly that it makes it so relatable. Is it subtly?
Subtly.
Yeah, you start practicing that Scottish accent.
Season 2, we're taking you to France.
She's basically a Scouser now, though.
Shout out to Sean though, because obviously OG.
I was going to ask actually how, because Sean got brought into this through Hannah, or did he did he audition?
Well, Sean was.
Big up, Sean.
Sean was in
Sean, man, big up, man.
Love of my life.
Big up.
Amazing. He was in. He had a little scene in Malpractice, the show that I did before. And I was just,
that's how you knew him, just from that. Wow.
And that scene ended up being longer than it was supposed to be, right? Because he was fantastic.
And we brought him back for episode 5. But we just championed, and the same was what we did with you with the BBC, and was like, he has to be in this.
And it was so evident from the first read through, because before the read through obviously with the script, and Phil very quickly set up a WhatsApp chat and said, please, to the best of your ability, feel free to start to improvise, to play. And I think I was like, okay, great, that's music to my ears, but Sean took it and ran.
Oh God.
It was like, and I was that opposite of him. I had the lucky seat of being able to be like, he is sensational. Really came prepared. It was excellent to see.
He's a gift of an actor.
He's a gift.
Really sweet human being.
He's a gift. I was going to say he's a
He's that as well,
You just see something so special, and I was like, this is excellent. He's such a talent.
For me, the beginning with Sean was a struggle, because he's Scouse, but
he's the Scouse.
But he also mumbles. So I arrived and I thought, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to direct this man. I don't understand what he's saying. And then someone told me, no, don't worry, we don't understand him either. He speaks so fast. And then he would come and talk to me, and it's like de-Scouse. And then I really got used to him. And then later, when I got offered to shoot a show in Liverpool, I was like, okay, I've been trained by Sean.
Everything happens for a reason.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's special.
Because you're not a real Scouse.
Well, I lived in London for I lived in London. I moved from Liverpool when I was 16.
Posh.
Yeah. And now I don't live in Liverpool or London. But my brother, Alex,
Yes.
Another legend.
he is this guy.
So basically, I'm going to repeat. Phil's brother, Alex, was the person driving me to set every day. So we became really close friends and I really liked him. And the first time that I received a voice message from Sean, because I was there while you guys were shooting, so I was like starting to work with you guys by voice messages in the beginning before being able to sit with you. He sent me like a 6-minute voice message with his accent. And I was in the car telling Alex, can you translate that to me? He's like, okay, he's saying this. No, he's saying this. No, he's saying
2 times.
Imagine
6 minutes? That is special.
That's a
6 minutes.
That's a podcast.
What was he
That is a
talking about for
podcast.
6
That is a
minutes?
Talking about his
Process, darling.
The process.
Character. Oh, he's just so dedicated.
Oh, let's talk about her in voice messages. Before I even met her, she was like, oh, this director speaks French, so she can help me with the accent. So she would just send me messages and messages with the French accent.
To send her a voice message every
day.
fucking day in French accent. Can I just say?
But you said 7.
Yeah, because I gave up to work flying. It was so exposing. I was like, am I shit or are you bored? Like,
This is now a couples therapy session. I'm really pleased.
Yeah.
Give me the floor to area.
This is like the after show of like one of the reality shows.
Yeah.
So, let's just go round and say favourite moment. Actors.
Yeah,
Go
start
on.
with James.
I'll start over here.
Well, let's do the actors because
Yeah.
it's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Favourite moments.
do you know what
Like,
there was?
don't monologue it, mate.
Okay.
Don't do a Larkai, come on.
Favorite moment was, you know what? Turn around. That was one of my favorite. Sorry, I know.
Private joke.
You have to explain that.
Private joke. Actually, no, I can't. That's private joke.
explain that.
You just can't. You gotta be there. The favorite moment was actually when we all went for that meal. Remember we all went for that meal?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever that place was called.
Yeah.
Ooh, wee.
Yeah, really good.
That was good, man.
Good food.
Do you remember?
No.
Okay. Do you know? You were there?
You were there. Big long
Yeah, the
table.
first meal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with the
tapas.
wasabi.
Tapas, yeah. Japanese
Your
tapas.
sauce.
That
Yeah,
was
man.
amazing.
Loved it.
Stevie Oak.
Mine was the moments in the green room, man.
Yeah.
It was just a breakaway from the work, and I was getting pranked a lot. Filmed when I was sleeping.
He likes to sleep this
Oh my
morning.
gosh.
I was
Remember the fart machine?
I was a joke for a little bit. Like, they placed the fart machine on the sofa.
I've seen that.
Oh, this was it. Ray.
And I was like,
Ray loves it.
you know what I'm like? I'm hearing the fart, but I'm like, guys, it's not me. Where's come from me, but I don't know how to explain it.
I remember the card game when you thought you sussed out the card game. Every time you go back to Ray, be like, I sussed it.
There was a lot of good moments in the green room, man.
Oh, yeah, that's good. It was good, actually.
Han?
Yeah, man.
It's hard to choose. I mean, there's so many funny ones that me and Izuka had in the kitchen, but just yeah, I think just in general, really, I just think I don't know. It's really hard
It is
to
hard.
choose.
It's
It's really
hard.
hard. The club was really fun when we could just dance
Yeah.
because I think
We needed it.
Yeah,
like,
we
needed
really
that.
needed it. Yeah, having a good dance.
Then 2 hours later, you're like, enough.
2
Yeah.
days of this, no.
Yeah, and the car because I thought it was really,
Yeah.
I'd never been in a pod car before, so having someone drive you
Yeah.
at speed.
And it was your birthday.
And it was my
Yeah, bro.
birthday.
Yeah, it hit 12 and it was like, oh, it's your birthday.
Yeah, which
man.
was lovely. Anyway,
That's cute.
yeah.
mine's kind of 2 parts. Like, firstly, like the people, the friends, but genuinely the sort of friendships, because we were doing something quite difficult and head fucky, and so the support and the friendships at that time were like we couldn't have done it without each other. And the second part is just having like being. I was always at the sort of window waiting to come into that pass, so being able to have a first-hand witness of just people doing great work. And I was such a champion of it, like poor Vanette was like, and I was always like, it's so good, you're so good, it's so good. But it was genuine because I was able to be like, this is fucking incredible. And then I'd come in and take 2 plates away. So yeah, the friendships and being able to see it firsthand was excellent for me.
Yeah.
That's a great answer.
Yes.
Go on, Zooks.
I mean, I echo what everyone else said. The laughs in the green room and the laughs that I had with Sean as well on set was just incredible. I will say, as much as I jest about like having to do the French and the stressfulness of it, because it was the most challenging thing I've had to do, in that same breath, there were moments where I would find myself doing a scene like with Stephen Ogg, or I'd be pretending to be on the phone or something, and I'd be speaking French, and I was just kind of came out my body sometimes and was like, this is quite cool. Like to be able to be put in a position where I'm being paid to be on a set with people that I really adore, making work that I love, and I'm also being challenged to speak another language. I was like, I don't know when I'll next ever have the opportunity to be able to do something like that again. Fail or triumph, it was still something that I would go home and be like, cool.
Nice.
Amen.
And also, I would say also with the character of Camille, we were able to, Izuka and I really wanted to talk about certain things that, you know, women go through and that we felt were never portrayed properly on screen. So the ability to sit and have those conversations and then bring them into the show felt empowering to us. I have a worst moment.
Oh, go on.
Oh, tell me it's the pill.
It's the pill.
Oh, we have to tell the story. Sorry.
Oh my god.
This is nuts.
It's
One morning I woke up with a headache.
Yes.
It was the 6 a.m. call time, so I'm like, I'm gonna take a Panadol because I have a headache. Half asleep, I take the Panadol, get to set, and I'm like, why am I falling asleep? I took a sleeping pill instead of a Panadol.
But can you just imagine us coming past the monitor to set to go, and our director just like half asleep on the chair, like all right when you're
First
like,
thing in the morning.
You have every person from the crew bringing Diet Coke, like Pepsi,
filled with
it was filled. I was
caffeine.
like drinking, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm actually falling asleep. And I'm like this, okay, action. It was really horrible. It lasted like 4 hours,
it was so good.
It's
I
like
was on
watching.
standby. Ready to step in.
but I managed.
Well, listen, guys, I honestly really appreciate you all coming and doing this because you know how much I love you all and I appreciate it.
We appreciate you, Phil.
love you.
Yeah, mate.
Appreciate you, Phil.
Thank you. Everyone give yourselves a round of applause.
Well done, everyone.